berserk. Hello, Flyers fans, and welcome to another episode of Peter's Power Play. Today, we'll be talking about the Provorov Trade, Harts future with Philly, and mock drafts review. Let's get right into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also follow Triple P Pod on Twitter. And let's get right into it. So, Dana Briere's first move as Flyers GM happened a day or two ago, and it was trade away defenseman Ivan Provorov. It was a 3-team deal with LA, and Columbus. Flyers received goalie Cal Peterson, Sean Walker, Helge Grans, still working on that one, Blue Jackets 2023 first, which is the second overall pick, Blue Jackets 2024-2025 second rounder, Canes 2024 second rounder. So pretty good haul for the Flyers there. Obviously, now you look towards the future, but great haul. I like the trade. Especially, I think it was fair for each team, with Blue Jackets receiving just Provorov, Canes receiving Hayden Hodgson and Kevin Cunnington. I think Dana Briere did a really good job. I think this trade that Dana Briere pulled off will help the Flyers in this rebuild. I think this rebuild has started now. I love the trade, but now it makes you think, what could Chuck Fletcher have gotten for Provorov? This is what a first-time GM, Dana Briere, got for him. What could have a veteran like that? Why couldn't he have gotten that for Provorov? Like, Chuck Fletcher's been here for a while. It's not like Chuck Fletcher just got into the scene. First-time GM, hasn't run successful things. And he hasn't really, that was my fault for saying that. But, it's not like he was a first-time GM with us. He wasn't. So why couldn't he have done that? It kind of just makes me mad thinking about, could he have gotten a same return or better return? Why couldn't he have? Because there's definitely, this proves there's a market for him. This proves that there's teams out there that like them. Even Briere said, I was watching his press conference afterwards, he said there was teams calling, but he liked the Blue Jackets fits, and since they got a bunch of picks and assets for him, he chose this deal. But he even said there was other teams calling. There's other teams calling about him. So you look at last year trade deadline, you thought for sure one of the three, Provorov, Hayes, or JVR, is going to be gone, right? He doesn't get anything done. He's not productive. And then fast forward to now, he's fired. Chuck Fletcher's fired. He didn't. And then Dana Briere comes in. He's worked his way up this way. I was confident in him, and then he comes in here and gets this deal done. Great return. You get promising prospects in return, and okay goalie in Cal Peterson. We'll see what we can, if he gets any playing time at all. I think that was just to try to even this trade out, but we'll see. We'll see with that. And the picks. The picks is another thing. Having a 2020, those second rounders, yeah, but you can still get productive players in the second round. Plus, you can use that for further trades in the future, like next year. Trade deadline. You could use that. You could use that. And this year, this draft is deep. This draft for any team, if you're looking at this draft, you're like, I just want picks. It doesn't even have to be a first. You can have a second in this draft, still get a productive player out of it. This draft class is loaded top to bottom, I feel like. There's a lot of good players in this draft class. And we'll get more into the draft later, but I liked that how he could have pulled that off to get 22nd. So you could still get a very productive player. Or you could move up realistically with that 22nd pick and pair the 7th. You could pull something off. I'm not saying number 1 with Bedard. I'm saying like maybe 3. You could trade up You could trade up with someone in that top 3 if you give up enough. And you look at this trade and you're like, okay, they have draft capital now. They have a bunch of draft capital for the next 3 years, which is great because we're in rebuild mode. And that's not deniable. It's not a retool, nothing. It's a rebuild. You're trying to rebuild this. And I think this shows it kind of signals the way they're going to do this rebuild. Any old players that could get value out of are gone. JVR is a free agent this year. That's great. Hayes, I think, is going to be gone. Tony D'Angelo, I think, could definitely be gone soon. Sooner than people think. I wasn't expecting a Provorov trade 3 days ago. I was sitting there with my friends, playing 2K with them, and I go on Twitter, and I see Ivan Provorov is now a Columbus Blue Jacket. He is not messing around. Dana Briere is not messing around with this rebuild. He's been waiting. I think he's been waiting for a chance to become a GM, and I think now that he's there, he's like, okay, I'm not gonna mess up at all. I'm gonna mess up minimally, as minimal as I can. I'm gonna mess up because he's been waiting. He was down low in the farm systems, being GM in that team, which was very hard. He goes up, progresses to the NHL, where he got lucky with Chuck Fletcher being such a bad GM here. And you look at the team, and you're looking, okay, we're in a weird spot. We don't have much value. We don't have many players you can trade first round picks for like that. Like, it's a weird position the Philadelphia Flyers are on. I'll talk about that more when we get to, questions with Hart and everything, but I'm still on this, Provorov trade. The thing with this deal is signals Dana Briere can be an NHL level GM. I was having questions if he can. Because mixed with, he hasn't done it before, and when the Flyers usually hire former players to do a job like this, usually they fumble. And don't, do anything. And I don't trust this organization that much. They haven't given us a reason to trust them in a while. They've failed us time and time again as fans. They've made bad hires again and again. The last time I think they kind of, gave us hope was, Tortorella, but even then, it was a weird hire. So they've made bad hires in the past, and that's for sure. We know that. You look at the Philadelphia Flyers as a fan of that team, that organization, and you're looking at them, and you're not thinking, great organization, makes us happy all the time, great team, great history all the time in our lives. No, they've disappointed us, but I think the trade signals something that Dana Briere could get the job done and make the fans happy. Because the hire with Keith Jones and Dana Briere, those two guys will care. The Flyers have just needed guys who will care about the team. Because Comcast, the ownership, does not care. That they don't care. So I think it was key to bringing Keith Jones, and Dana Briere, because I think those two guys will care about the production on the team on this, even though it's going to be a process where we can product at a high level on our own. Not just you know what I mean? Like, play well on the ice and have expectations and everything. This helps with the tank too. You're trying to get bad. Because if there's a guy I'm not saying there's gonna be the number one over pick next year's gonna be up the stature of Bedard. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if there's a guy like that, I guarantee you every draft has that. If you want the first overall pick every year of this rebuild, you're going to have to battle out with Chicago for that. But this helps with that. Dana Briere knows this. We're going to be a bad team. Might as well be super bad. Might as well be one of the worst in the league, right? Helps with the future. Helps with the future. Helps with the future. Helps with trade value, really. Say you get the number 1 overall pick next year. Sorry. And there's not a guy that you love. Say there's a team like Anaheim or Chicago or Columbus that loves that guy, right? And you have the first overall pick. You can do what you want with it. Value. You can get whatever you want for him for that first overall pick and do wonders with that. You can do wonders with it. Trade it. Pick a great guy that you can develop. Now, developing is going to be a weird thing. Back to this trade. This raises some questions for the future as well of the current roster. Goalie Cal Peterson is one of them. What are they doing with the goalies now? It's not like it's not going to raise questions when you trade for a goalie. When you already have a decent room. I'm not saying Felix Sandstrom and St. Merson are NHL level goalies, but is Cal Peterson even that either? Like, I love Cal Peterson and everything, but I don't think he's, that great. But still raises questions. Do the Philadelphia Flyers, is this a sign that the Flyers might trade away Carter Hart? And that brings us into the segue of Hart's future with the Flyers. The clock could be taken down. The clock can be taken down very, 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 very fast for my boy Carter Hart in a Philadelphia Flyers uniform. You might have seen him last game of last year against Chicago. That might be the last time you've seen him in a Flyers uniform. There's a market for him, especially. And what I said earlier with a weird position, this is what I mean by that. Your only valuable player that you can get 5 firsts and a good player for, and good prospects and all that, and money and cap space, is your goaltender, Carter Hart. So they're in a weird spot with this rebuild. Because if you look at it, say you do the rebuild perfectly, you trade away Carter Hart. I'm not saying that's the way to go. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying anything. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's the way they should go. Say it is. Say they trade away Carter Hart, then you do the rebuild perfectly after that. And you have a great team. But then you look at it and you didn't draft a great goaltender. Then you're in a weird spot like, oh, we have a great team. No goalie. We're historically a team that isn't good with goalies. We know that. We haven't developed a good goalie in a while. Carter Hart's the most recent. It's a lot like the Sergei Bobrovsky. You trade away Bobrovsky, he stands on his head for multiple years with Columbus, and now he's in Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals. Okay? He hasn't been playing well in the Stanley Cup Finals, but he's been playing well in that playoff run. And traded him away. So what if it's the same thing with Carter Hart? What if you trade Carter Hart away and you get a good team, but you don't have a goalie again? Same thing that happened with Sergei Bobrovsky. It's not even like, there's definitely a market. The possible teams, I think, that could trade for Carter Hart are teams like LA. You can make another deal with them. You can make another deal with LA. Edmonton, Toronto. There's a lot of different teams that can trade for Carter Hart if they choose to go that route. There's rumors they were working on a deal, and I think I've said this in this episode already 15 million times. I love what David Briere's done, but I think he's moving too fast. Like right after that Provorov Trade, there's rumors coming out. Carter Hart, they're working on a Carter Hart deal. Okay, slow down, okay? That's the direction you want to go. That's the direction you want to go. Right? Like, here's the direction you want to go. Good. Great for you. Do that. But then, no trade. Silence. Then yesterday, look on Twitter. Hayes rumors flying around. Oh, he might be gone by tomorrow. No. Quietness. Then Tony DeAngelo, he's looking at the market for Tony DeAngelo, and I think it's just moving too fast. Do one deal at a time. If you want to do a Hart deal, do that. If you want to get rid of Hayes first, just slow down. Because there could be markets in the Stanley Cup Final for a guy like Tony D'Angelo. You don't think Vegas would love to add to their blue line, even if they do win the Stanley Cup? Do you think that you don't think they would love Tony D'Angelo on their team? I'm not saying like they would love him. I'm not saying he's a perfect fit in Vegas. I'm saying that might be a team that might want him. They might want more blue line depth if someone gets hurt or suspended again, like Alex Pietrangelo did once upon a time in this playoff run for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Florida, you don't think Florida would like a guy like that? A scrappy guy who's known for being tough. It fits their thing. Him and Chucker could probably, make something happen. But back to Carter Hart. I think the most likely landing spot for Carter Hart is the Edmonton Oilers. I think even though they have Skinner, a rookie, they drafted him. They're developing him really well. They're developing him extremely well, more than the Flyers have ever. But, they've always had goalie issues. They signed Jack Campbell. I had them as my Stanley Cup winners because I thought Campbell would have done better. Everyone did. But now they're in another place where Skinner let us down in the postseason. And Campbell did as well. So what do you do at the goalie position? Now you look at the Philadelphia Flyers and you're like, yo, Philly, we'll give you a certain amount of picks. A guy like Hyman or Yamamoto for Carter Hart. I think that's a realistic deal. I think they could definitely be saying that exact deal. I'm saying that a deal like that, something like that, definitely could happen. Toronto's another place. Pittsburgh, as much as I would hate to see that happen, Pittsburgh's a likely landing spot as well. As much as I would hate to see him go to Pittsburgh and kill us every year. Every year he would kill us if he went to Pittsburgh. I think that's an option. They give you a boatload, I think, for him because they need a goalie. They're one step away. They would miss the playoffs due to their goaltending being so in that game against Chicago. And Tristan Jarry and Carter Hart are friends. I'm not saying I want him to go there. I'm saying that's a possible landing spot. They do trade Carter Hart. You looked at that great package for Ivan Provorov. What could you get for Carter Hart then? That's the immediate thing I thought. Since you got a boatload in return for Ivan Provorov, what could you get for a guy like Carter Hart? Franchise goalie for any team that wants him. If it's a bad team that will give you a shitload of picks, sorry for the language, then yeah, do it. Bet. Go. Go to that bad team. I don't care about whether you want a cup or not. Go, give me the picks. That could be a direction they go. Or whether it's a contender that will give you a boatload of stuff, a good player, and picks, like Edmonton Oilers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Pittsburgh Penguins, Iowa Senators, whoever. It has to be a lot. It has to be a hell of a deal. The immediate thought I thought was, after I saw those Carter Hart rumors, well, we must be getting a boatload then, if they're even considering trading him. And the Canes are another possible spot I did not list there. I thought he was going to be LA bound for a while. I saw a post that said he was going to be LA bound. He was not. Not yet. I mean, I can check. Oh. No, he's still a Philadelphia Flyer for now.